Sophia Lane sat in row 14, head resting against the window, lulled into sleep after a grueling week of business travel. The kind of week that drained her so thoroughly that even the in-flight movies felt like work. She had pulled her jacket close, tucked the thin airline blanket beneath her chin, and drifted into dreams filled with fleeting images of home. But the peace shattered with the sharp chime of the cabin intercom. The captain's voice followed, calm, yet carrying a tension that rippled through the rows. "Ladies and gentlemen, if there is anyone on board with flight experience, any pilot at all, please notify the crew immediately." The words lingered in the cabin like smoke, heads lifted, eyes darted, passengers exchanged nervous glances. This wasn't turbulence, this wasn't weather, this was something different, something wrong. Sophia stirred awake, blinking in confusion as the whispers spread. "Did he just say a pilot?" someone muttered. "Isn't the captain flying?" another asked, voice trembling. Row 14 suddenly felt like the center of the plane, the place where silence weighed heaviest. The flight attendant moved briskly down the aisle, face composed but pale. She repeated the question with urgency. "If anyone here has piloting experience, please, we need you now." No one moved, no one raised a hand. Sophia's chest tightened, because she knew the truth, the one part of her life she had buried. She wasn't just a consultant traveling home, she had once been a pilot, not commercial but private. Years ago, before she traded the skis for an office, she had logged countless hours behind the yoke. She knew the language of instruments, the discipline of control, the feel of flight itself. But it had been nearly a decade. Her last flight ended not with applause but with tragedy, the crash that claimed her best friend and left her swearing she'd never sit in a cockpit again. The attendant's eyes swept the cabin and landed on her. Sophia's throat went dry, doubt clawed at her chest. What if she wasn't ready? What if she froze? What if her mistakes cost over 100 lives? Then she thought of the families aboard, of the crying child a few rows back, of her own son waiting for her at home. She took a trembling breath. "I can fly," she said. Her voice wasn't loud, but it carried the weight of resolve. The relief in the attendant's eyes was immediate. In seconds, all gazes turned toward her as she rose and walked down the aisle, strangers' hopes pressed onto her shoulders. The cockpit door opened. Inside, the captain was slumped over, pale and unresponsive, struck by a sudden medical crisis. The first officer remained, hands flying over controls, panic etched on his face. He looked up in disbelief when she entered. "You're a pilot." "Private," Sophia admitted quickly. "It's been years, but I can help." There was no more time for doubt. She slid into the captain's chair, the controls unfamiliar yet achingly familiar. Aircraft had evolved, but the fundamentals of flight, the heartbeat of the skis, never changed. The engine's hum coursed through her veins, something dormant inside her stirred awake. She steadied the course, listening carefully as the first officer rattled off procedures. Air traffic control crackled over the radio, guiding them step by step. In the cabin, a nurse tended to the unconscious captain. But the real turbulence was in Sophia's chest, memories flooding back. Her first solo flight, the exhilaration of the open sky, and the night that stole her confidence when she had sworn never again. Yet here she was, called back not by choice but by necessity. Minutes stretched into eternity as she guided the jet, her hands steadying with each motion. The first officer glanced at her, gratitude in his eyes. "You've got this," he whispered. She nodded. "We've got this." The descent began. The runway appeared, a thin gray ribbon of salvation. Passengers braced, hearts racing. Sophia whispered to herself, "You can do this. You were born to do this." The wheels screeched against the tarmac. A jolt, then a roll, then slowing momentum until the aircraft eased to a halt on solid ground. For a breath, silence, then cheers, gasps, sobs, strangers embracing, a child clapping, prayers whispered in relief. And Sophia Lane, the woman from row 14, sat with tears streaming down her face. She hadn't just landed a plane, she had landed her courage again. As she walked back down the aisle, passengers' faces lit with gratitude. A little girl reached for her hand and whispered, "You saved us." In that moment, Sophia understood what she had forgotten. Courage isn't the absence of fear, it is walking through fear for the sake of others. That day she had boarded as a weary traveler, but destiny had other plans. Row 14 had awakened her. So when life tries to tell you that you're not ready, not strong enough, not capable, remember Sophia Lane. The woman who thought she'd left her calling behind, only to find it again when the world needed her most. And maybe, just maybe, the same courage is waiting in you. If this story moved you, like this video, leave a comment with your thoughts and subscribe for more stories that remind us of the strength we all carry inside.